Hello, class. So today my slides or my topic is AppArmor and HTTPS. I am Christiana Afriye, and I'll be going over these topics. Some contents we will be reviewing are AppArmor, the features of AppArmor, command used for AppArmor, hardened recommendation for AppArmor, HTTPS, features of HTTPS, hardened recommendation for HTTPS, IIS and its hardened recommendation, Apache hardened recommendation, and HTTP versus HTTPS. Keywords is hardening, which is a process intended to eliminate any means of attack by patching vulnerabilities and turning off non-essential services. MAC, which is the media access control, and is used to identify electronic devices on a network. LSM, which is Linux security modules, and it provides a mechanism for various security checks to be hooked by the kernels and SSL. So what is AppArmor? AppArmor, which is shortened for Application Armor, is a Linux kernel security module that uses the media access control, so known as MAC address, to limit the set of resources. The use of MAC helps determine the specific file paths that can be used or not used, and it also introduces a policy approach where profiles are created and loaded from the user space. Some key features of AppArmor includes the two modes, which are complain and enforce. The complaint role, also known as a texting mode profile, allows tasks to be performed without any restrictions, and the enforce mode is a default mode that automatically comes with Ubuntu. With this mode, it applies policies, the process where it is necessary. AppArmor can alert users when there's a breach of policy. This is a very key feature because companies don't want to wake up and just see that there's a breach. It alerts them so that they could act quick to find a solution. The profile-based security implemented in AppArmor helps enhance applications since each profile has its own security profile. And the use of LSM allows administrators to combine different security measures to create a strong layer of security for their organization. This is a very key feature because security is what's important in any organization, and having a lot of security makes you less vulnerable for any attacks. So it's always important to have different security stack on top of each other. It will make it very hard for attackers to even get close to you. Next is the command. The command used to check the status of AppArmor is AppArmor_status. And this command is used to view the current status of AppArmor profile, and it shows information such as all the profile listed. AA status is also used to display the current state of AppArmor. Some hardened recommendation for AppArmor includes immunizing cron jobs. Immunizing cron jobs will enhance security by ensuring tasks are executed and are not introduced to any vulnerables. This is important because our main goal is to not get close to any vulnerabilities. So with cron jobs, it helps make sure that tasks are executed and vulnerabilities are not being introduced into the system. For it to be effective, the user needs to first become a root by using the cron tab command, then editing with cron tab E. So first you have to open your terminal. That's the very first step. We cannot do this anywhere but inside the terminal. And then you type in the cron tab. It will display the status, and then you could go in and edit with cron tab E. Set up audit mode. In the audit mode, the security policy that administrator has set up for profiles will be highly enforced, and all activities, either threats or no threats, are logged into the system, which will help you analyze the activity and determine the next steps. And lastly, rules. Customize AppArmor to meet your own requirements. This is very important because if you know what your requirements are, it will make it very easy to figure out what's going on in a network. And it will only be you that will know what's going on in a network. Hackers will not know because they don't know the rules that you have set up. And having a set rule for your company abides by is great because hackers will be less likely to know what's going on in your network, as I stated. And some requirements in the system might not be for your company. So eliminating such rules will help increase security. In security and trying to protect your network, of course, having a double security is very essential, but less is more in a sense. So you should always have rules that you're not using out of the system because sometimes that's a way that attackers or hackers could come through the system by rules that you never use. HTTPS. HTTPS is Hypertext Transfer Protocol Secure, and it's a secure version of HTTP protocol. HTTPS is used to send data between the web server and the web browser. This communication all happens using the transport layer security or the secure socket layer. HTTPS makes it safer for people to use the internet because it secures information and helps protect privacy. Some key features of HTTPS include it implements encryption, authentication, and integrity. And HTTPS allow users to use their domain against SSL certificates. A digital signature is used in the web browser when a document is sent to the web server, and it can't be manipulated by any third party. That's the integrity portion. And the use of public key cryptography and SSL helps set up communication section between two parties via the creation of the secret shared key. That's the encryption. And HTTPS protect the confidentiality and data transmitted between the client and the server, and that's the authentication. So some applications used for HTTPS that we are going to cover is IIS. So what is IIS? IIS is the Internet Information of Services, and it's a web server created by Microsoft Windows that supports different variation of HTTP, and of course, it includes HTTPS. It enhances server protection by minimizing its footprint by enabling administrators to customize their web server by making them select or remove modules. And the automatic website solution, IIS, allows websites to run their own memory space and automatically generate a unique identity, which means applications are not affected by security breaches. One important thing about security is to have the best of best security, you need to have your own identity because that's even in life period. Having your own identity makes you stand out. It makes you less vulnerable for any attacks. And that's what IIS does. And some key features is its ability to filter requests to effectively whitelist and blacklist traffic and application pool. Some 3 hardened recommendations for IIS is dynamic IP restriction, which is using dynamic restriction can block IP addresses during DOS attacks that are making an unusual request since it limits access to IP address. And the second is incorporate URL authorization a application. This is an essential security measure since it ensures authorized users can only access certain parts of application, and it makes it easier to restrict certain content. And the last one is using Windows Firewall, since the purpose of firewall essentially is to monitor the incoming and outgoing of traffic. And since this is a Microsoft Windows application, it can know when there's an attack and have it as a point of defense rather than going through other hardening and making it easier for yourself. Since it's already in the system, you don't need to download any other applications or whatnot. Apache is a web server software that is an open source server for HTTPS. It uses mod SSL module, which enables and edit the server to configure files in HTTPS. Some features is it support a range of technologies, including Python, Ruby, and CGI scripts, scalability, and is compatible with IPv6. Some three hardware recommendation for Apache is it monitors log. Monitor log is good hardware recommendations since it can help detect and respond to attacks that happen via the web server. And of course, you will be there, but it already do it for you. So that would be awesome. Makes the work easier. Implement MFA, multi-factor authentication, which is MFA, adds an additional layer of security that can protect the web server since it makes the user verify itself multiple times before it could get access to whatever they need. And web application firewalls, implementing WAF is a great practice because it adds an additional layer of protections since it can be used to block and filter traffic from the websites. Hardware recommendation for HTTPS. So remove unnecessary softwares. As I said before, less is more. So if a software is not being used, it should not be there. Having it could cause security breaches, and attackers usually go for softwares that are not being used. And most of the time, since it's HTTPS, it do include sensitive information, which once they get hold of it, they use it as a leverage. Enable HTTP script transport security policy. Enabling HSTS is a security measure since it revolves around the SSL protocol attacks. Not only does it revoke SSL, it also helps website load faster since HTTP is relatively slower than HTTP. Well, yeah, HTTPS is relatively slower than HTTP. And next is implementing HSTS allow the web server to load a secure version of the website and ignores any redirect requests. And enable OCSP stapling. OCSP stapling is an online certificate status protocol. The purpose of this is to determine the validity of your SSL certificate, and it also prevents attacks that can be caused by revoked certificates, since it ensures that the client must have up-to-date security. So if you don't have up-to-date security, it just won't work. So this is very essential because a lot of people seem to have a hard time to differentiate HTTP versus HTTPS. And with HTTP, it has a default port of 80. HTTPS have a default port of 443. HTTPS uses SSL encryption for secure connection, and HTTPS data can be accessed by anyone who intercept the communication. HTTP uses HTTP, and that's the format, and the HTTPS have the S at the end. HTTP are for websites that are not very sensitive. So like blogs, information, anything that you think of that you don't need to very much secure, compared to HTTPS, which uses, banking, shopping, your card, your socials will all be included. HTTP is faster since it do not require SSL certificates, and HTTPS is slower because it requires encryption and decryption process. HTTP works in the application layer, and HTTPS works in a transport layer. These are my citation where I got everything from, and that'll be all. Thank you so much for tuning in.